If you're feeling like you need some organization in your business, then this video is for you. Something that I learned from working in the film industry for 2 decades is how to be really organized, because everything needed to be done like yesterday. And while I don't work in the film industry anymore, I took some really important principles from the film industry and have applied them to my own business. I'm going to be showing my entire system, and hopefully you can pull things from it that are useful for you. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, then keep on watching. Before we get on to today's topic, if you're interested in entrepreneurship and how to grow your coaching or course-based business and scale it to multi-6 and 7 figures, then make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos. That's what this channel is all about. So the way I look at business is I love to have a bird's eye view of everything, because it helps me to anticipate what's coming up so that I can plan ahead and I'm not caught off guard. And this is especially important when I'm almost running 2 business models where we have the group coaching and then we also have our agency side. Knowing what we're going to be launching, knowing when my projects are coming up, when I'm going to have to do travel is crucial to how I plan recording content like this and how I plan on marketing and fulfilling projects. So first and foremost, I use a dry erase wall calendar where I have the entire year at a glance all the time, and I immediately block off the dates where I know they're non-negotiables, that I can't book anything else there. So generally, these are going to be launch dates. They're going to be days that I block off personally. And it could be dates where I know I'm going to be traveling for a client project. This essentially is putting the big rocks into a container so that I can then place the small rocks around it. So what are these smaller rocks? Well, then that's where we get into our quarterly and our weekly planning. So something that I go through with our accelerator students is to map out our entire year in 90-day sprints. So we look at each quarter as almost a dedicated moment where you're focusing on 1 to 3 goals or themes within that quarter. Then once you know what those goals are, you can reverse engineer the steps to get there. And then those steps are added into my weekly passion planner where I'm then implementing the steps. When it comes to planning, I'm a little bit of a hybrid planner, meaning I definitely use digital tools, but I also like the handwritten experience and also checking things off, coloring in sections, adding stickers. It just makes my planning experience a lot more fun for me. And I know that when things are fun, I'm going to be much more likely to stick to it. So that's a tip for you. If you find yourself struggling to get organized or to stay organized, check yourself. Are you doing it because you feel like you need to and it's this tedious task that you're forcing yourself to do? If that's the case, how can you change it up a little bit so that it feels a bit more fun, it feels a bit more spacious, and it feels a lot more stress-free for you? Because ultimately, when things feel good, you're going to be much more likely to commit to them for the long haul. In my passion planner, I do the same thing where I'm blocking off the big rocks. So this is my weekly meetings. This is blocks of time that are non-negotiables that perhaps I've already blocked off for personal reasons. Then around those big rocks, that's where I plan out my small rocks. So what are my small rocks? Well, they change from quarter to quarter, but generally, I like to think of them as themes. So if you've known me for a while, you'll know that I time block my entire week so that I'm really productive and I stay focused on what are the most important tasks that I need to carry out this quarter. Now, in order to do so, I'm not very good with blocking off specific times to do that. I feel really constricted that way because I still like to be able to flow with what I feel like in that day, in that mood. So what I've done instead is to block off days with themes. So for instance, I do my CEO Sundays, and even though it's only, an hour at the most of the time, it's dedicated time that I spend to just look and plan for the week ahead. So I like to start the week, my Mondays, with creative me time. So I actually reserve that for no calls or anything. And that's kind of like my CEO Monday, where I'm really working on the business instead of in the business. So these CEO Mondays are dedicated for things like recording videos like this, mapping out an upcoming launch, writing sales copy, just anything that's going to be the important meter movers going forward. Now, for the other days, I like to theme them out based on the things that I need to do. So sometimes I'll have days that are dedicated for client fulfillment and working on agency projects. On other days, I will have that committed to maybe writing content if that's something that I'm going to be really focused on in the next while. Or it could be training team if that's what I'm really focused on. So the reason why I like these 90-day plans and themed days is because it gives you enough structure to stick to for the entire quarter and for the entire year, but there's still enough flexibility for you to change things up a little bit and to kind of go with the flow with what you feel like for the day instead of feeling like you need to squeeze everything into tight time blocks. Then within my actual daily implementation, I'm generally using two really important tools that help me to keep everything really organized. So on the agency side, we use a platform called 17 Hats, which is what I use for sending out quotes, invoices. It's also where I create a client workflow. So I keep every single project really systematized, and the entire team can just log into 17 Hats and know exactly where the project is based on the workflow. It also has really amazing templates. So email templates in these workflows is something that I use all the time. For example, right after I finish a client call and I'm sending them the notes, this is a template that I use inside 17 Hats all the time. And I literally just update the links and then I can hit send. No copy, no paste, no thinking from scratch. Everything is already there for me and it's really easy to deploy. The other system that I'm using in my day-to-day is Trello. So I love Trello because it's very visual and I'm a visual person. So I use this for our content planning, and I also use it for various other tasks, including client projects, to make sure that we're always moving forward and also the team always knows where we're at. I also use it to map out launch projects and upcoming launches and promotions. We also use it internally to help track accelerator processes and also where each client or student is at within the program. This helps us to also have a bird's eye view on the program so that we can deliver the type of content that's really going to be supportive for people for where they are. And also it helps us to identify any leaks in our own system. For example, if we notice that many students keep getting stuck in one certain area, then that's a flag for us to then focus on creating a system or providing more explanation or support in that certain area. And we wouldn't really know this or see the patterns if we didn't have a way to track it. Within the company, we also use Google Folders to keep documents organized for different programs and client projects and just business documents as a whole. This becomes a really easy place to find and update projects, and within each folder, the relevant team members will then have access to the content. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful to see how I stay organized so that you can pull some ideas for yourself so that you can stay organized in your business as well. I'll see you in the next video.